iron oxide pigments. Let me put up a question before entering into iron oxide pigments, that do you know that how our Lakshminarayan earned his wealth? Anybody knows? The
No,
name
sir.
given to our institute is Lakshminarayan Institute of Technology. So who was Lakshminarayan and how he donated that money to us? Anybody knows?
He was an industrialist.
Anybody knows? You are in the institute from last 3 years. You must have a natural curiosity that who was Lakshminarayan and what did he do? Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Anybody knows? Otherwise, I will tell you. Anybody knows?
Sir, what?
Lakshminarayan, what was the contribution of Lakshminarayan? How did he earn billions of dollars?
सर उनका और का ये था, मतलब
हाँ,
नागपुर के बाहर जो मैंगनीज का ये है, मतलब मैंगनीज का ही कुछ उनका ये था, तो और हम निकालते हैं.
it is a one-man donation to our institute, which is working from last at least 75 years. So what is that person and what has he done? If you don't know, let me listen to me. Lakshminarayan was a man from Kamptee who was trading manganese ore trading. And in Second World War, the raw manganese were transported to Europe and other countries. Is it not? And in this trading of raw material, he made millions of rupees. So what he thought, that if a raw material can give us so much of money, then why not to refine it? Why not to value add it? And therefore, in 1930, he thought that we should have an institute which will be devoted to the value addition of various natural products like minerals. He knew that starting with manganese dioxide or starting with mica, you can get products of high value. So in India, chemical technology was not known at all. We were just exporting our raw material. So he first time thought over it and started an institute in chemical technology and gave his whole wealth, whatever he has earned. He has not spared anything for himself. And it is a one man donation, which is the highest in the world. So you should know about it, is it not? My point is, India is very rich in natural wealth. Perhaps when God created various countries, he was in a mood to create a colorful Eastman color in India. Because if you travel throughout the India, then various type of clays you will meet. If you go to Goa, the color is red. The clay is red in color. If you go to Malwa, the color is black. If you go to Rajasthan, the color of the soil is yellow. Yellow occurs, red occurs. They are the biggest natural wealths of our country. And let us try to understand that whatever resources of iron oxide we have got, they are so ample that if we are able to explore properly this natural wealth, our country can be on the first 5 nations. So let us see what is the availability of this iron oxide pigment in India. This available ore in India. Now you can go to WhatsApp and switch over to page number 1. Switch over to page number 1 on your WhatsApp. Have you opened it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The total available pigment, iron pigment in India is 28.52 billion tons. 28.52 billion tons. Two ores are important in India. One is hematite. One is hematite. It is 17.88 billion tons. 17.88 billion tons. While magnetite is 10.64 billion tons. Magnetite is 10.64 billion tons. And this iron ore is distributed throughout the country. Orissa is producing about 33%. Orissa, maximum ore is there in Orissa. What much the percentage? 33. Jharkhand, 26.3%. Then Goa. Has anybody visited Goa? Any of you?
Yes,
Ah.
sir.
The soil is red in color.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
No,
Goa
sir.
is the largest one of the deposits, 5%. Rest in Karnataka, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Rajasthan. This is the distribution of iron ore in India. I normally talk about these figures because you should know that what is the perspective of developing technology in country of various materials which we are using or which are available. The country is successful where whatever natural resources are available, you are able to explore them. First thing is explore. Second is value addition. And third is marketing. America, China, and Japan are the best examples. Whatever resources are there, they have find out the resource, then value add it, then sell the material based on it. So just you can imagine that what much is the scope of this iron oxide pigments. Just now in table you can see the composition of various types of iron oxides. Just refer to table. Hematite, the formula is Fe. Just try to remember it. Huh? What is hematite? Fe2O3. What is hematite? Fe2O3. And what is the iron percentage in it? Iron percentage is 70%. The properties of iron oxide pigment depend on the percentage of iron oxide. If more the percentage of iron oxide, better the pigment. Lower the percentage of iron oxide, poorer the pigment. But sometimes lower iron oxide is also required. I will tell you about it. Specific gravity is quite high, 4.9 to 5.3. And hardness on Mohs scale. Now, pigment has to be very hard because one paint property which is very important is scratch hardness. Scratch hardness, rocker hardness, or impact hardness. So whatever pigment which you are choosing, it must be substantially hard to face any scratch or any impact. So that way this hardness scale is important. This scale is based on hardest material and compared to it, it is 5.5 to 6.5. And the color of this is steel gray to red. Steel gray to red. The other ore which is available in India is magnetite. 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 What is the formula? Fe3O4. Fe3O4. Iron content is very high, say 72.8%. 4%. Specific gravity 5.17. On Mohs scale, it is 5.5 to 6.5. It is black, blue or brown black in color. Then in nature, carbonates are also available. This is iron oxide, but carbonates are also there. One example is siderite, siderite, siderite. It is found in Italy and Sicily. Siderite. The formula is FeCO3. FeCO3 carbonate. It is containing less amount of iron oxide, or iron percentage is only 48.2. So definitely the specific gravity is also lower, 3.7 to 3.9, and hardness is also proportionately lower, 3.5 to 4.5. And it is ash gray to brown in color. Ash gray to brown in color. The next one is pyrites. Pyrite, P-Y-R-I-T-E, pyrite. It is a iron sulfide. What it is? Iron sulfide, FeS2. The iron content is 46.6%. Just try to understand. Specific gravity 4.8 to 5.5. On Mohs scale, the hardness is 6 to 6.5, and it is brass yellow in color. It is brass yellow in color. So don't be afraid of whatever has been given in such a long table. The only idea is you should know what is the iron content. It may be 40 to 70%. In any ore, higher the iron content, better the property, lower the iron content, lower the property. So normally 45 to 70% or 72% iron is there, and as the percentage of iron goes down, the normal specific gravity is 4 to 5. Just see the table. Normal specific gravity 4 to 5. But if iron content is less, then naturally the specific gravity will be lower. And the color will also change depending on the composition and origin. Now you can refer to page number 2. Switch over now to page number 2. Here I am going to talk about ochres, yellow and red oxides of iron. Throughout the world, there are huge deposits of iron in various parts of the world. And one of the best deposits are in Italy. This limonite, Limonits, it is hydrated oxide. The yellow ochre has formula of 2Fe2O3H2O, while cyanose, this is another ochre which is Fe2O3 4H2O. Let us talk something about cyanose, that is from Italy, and this is considered to be one of the best ochres available. They are brownish yellow in color and they contain small quantity of 1% magnesium oxide. Cyanose usually are micronized. Cyanose are usually made into fine particles, and they are used as stainers. They are semi-transparent in oil. This is really quite interesting factor. semi-transparent in oils. Sometimes, suppose you are making a varnish, you want a reddish tint in it. You want a yellowish tint in it, means you do not want to color it. I want a little shade, whether it is brown, red or yellow. This is known as stainer. A small quantity of this clay, sienna clay, will change the color of the varnish. Or even semi-gloss paint or gloss paint, it will change the appearance. It will make a better appearance than the original. This is particular use of sienna. Now, cyan, in the bottom I have given the principal characteristics. We can also calcine. Calcine means heat this oil to 600 to 900 degrees centigrade. All clays, they are subjected to high temperature, which is known as calcination. So whatever hydrated products are there, they get dehydrated. And in this case, in case of sienna, they produce orange red color. They produce orange red color. Now, switch over to page 3. In Spain, you get a very good red oxide which contains 80 to 90% iron oxide. 80 to natural product has the highest iron content. It is known as Spanish oxide. It is bright in color. There is another variety which is known as Persian Gulf or Gulf red. I must tell you something about ochres. Ochres and mitti. Ochres, OCHRES. Ochres का मतलब होता है अलग अलग तरह की मिट्टी. पीली मिट्टी, लाल मिट्टी, काली मिट्टी. We call it as ochre. Okay. So they are actually colored clays. Ochres are colored clays and consist of mixtures of hydrated oxides of iron with mineral silicates. Means ochres are a combination of silicates and hydrated oxides of iron. They are known as French ochre or yellow ochre. Various names are there. And mainly these ochres are found in France and South Africa. This is also used as a stainer for gloss paint. It is used as a stainer. Stainer का मतलब समझोगे. Whenever you want to give a particular shade to a paint, suppose white is there, and I want it to be little yellowish. I want it to be little yellow reddish. I want it to be little orange. So the pigment which I use is known as stainer. And this stainer has a particular property that it will improve the gloss appearance. The appearance will become excellent by adding small quantities of these materials. These are all natural products, but now as the world is progressing and we are making synthetic materials, is it not? Synthetic materials are more cheaper, more consistent in quality, because in natural products sometimes the iron oxide may be 40, sometimes it may be 70, sometimes it may be 90. So a manufacturer cannot adjust such type of raw material. So therefore, always there is a tendency to make synthetic products which are higher in quality, better in shade, and having maximum best possible results. So there are two ways in which we prepare them. One is precipitation method. Write down. open page 4, WhatsApp पे follow page 4, open page 4. There are two methods, one is precipitation, other is calcination. The starting material is ferrous sulfate, FeSO4 7H2O. It is known as copper ash or green vitriol. Copper ash or green vitriol. This is a byproduct of galvanizing tin. Galvanization आपको मालूम है ना, स्टील प्लेट को सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड में डुबाते हैं और उसको कोट करते हैं निकल से और समथिंग एल्स. So first thing in galvanization is a bath is there which is sulfuric acid. So in the process of coating whatever solution, this particularly the iron sulfate FeSO4 7H2O is the byproduct of this process. Similarly, FeSO4 is also produced when you manufacture titanium dioxide by sulfate process. Means it is a byproduct of one industry. So in precipitation process, what we do, ferrous sulfate is treated with alkali. First step in precipitation is treatment of ferrous sulfate with some alkali. So I will get ferrous oxide. Ferrous oxide is precipitated. This precipitated product is then oxidized by adding copper turnings, or there are various ways of oxidizing ferrous to ferric. So convert it into a ferric compound. You will get different variety of products depending on conditions of precipitation, oxidation. You can control the condition to give either ferrite yellow or red oxide. Just try to understand this precipitation process. Ferrous sulfate is available as a byproduct from galvanizing industry. So that ferrous sulfate is treated with alkali. When you treat it with alkali, you get a precipitate of ferrous oxide. This ferrous oxide is then oxidized to the ferric compound, and then as usual it is dried, pulverized, and particle size is reduced to a minimum by micronizer. That is how you get ferrite yellow, FeRriteYellow, ferrite yellow. Ferrite yellow, the formula is Fe2O3H2O. It is a very soft pigment. Specific gravity is 4. Oil absorption 50 to 60. Now one thing, try to understand, if a pigment is cleaner, brighter in appearance, it is light fast and heat fast. Light fast and heat fast, try to understand. When light is followed or light is falling on that pigment, it will have a tendency to show brightness. Similarly, if you heat the painted article, then also it becomes bright. So this property is known as light fastness. And this light fastness is there in this particular ferrite yellow. It is completely insoluble in oil, resins, and solvents. It is used as a stainer in undercoats, aqueous paints, and undercoats. It is used as a stainer for gloss paints, undercoats, and aqueous paints. It is soluble in hydrochloric acid to give a very clean solution and leaves no residue. One more topic which I must introduce, that is the transparent oxides. Transparent oxides. transparent iron oxide. Please write down. This is a new thing. They are the pigments of extremely fine particle size. Extremely fine particle size, and when dispersed in paint media, they give transparent films on curing. Oxides of iron absorb UV light, so they protect the binder in which they are dispersed. Transparent oxides are used in light fast varnishes. देखो फर्नीचर का वार्निश रहता है ना, उसकी क्या कैरेक्टर है, एक तो ट्रांसपेरेंट उसके जो टेक्सचर है वो दिखना चाहिए और चमकना चाहिए और ब्राइट होना चाहिए वो, तो उसमें थोड़ा सा अगर रेड स्टोन होना, येलो स्टोन होना, ग्रीन स्टोन होना, तो अपन क्या करते हैं, ये ट्रांसपेरेंट ऑक्साइड यूज करते हैं, वुड वर्क में भी यूज करते हैं, एंड staining of enamel paints. Last but not the least is calcination process. Calcination process. Always remember that the iron oxide content of ferrite yellow is very high, 90%. Similarly, iron sulfate crystals are used as the basic raw material. This is calcined to 600 degrees centigrade. It is, the temperature is raised to 600 degrees centigrade. The product is yellowest and strongest. And by changing the temperature and working condition, you can get various colors. Say if the temperature is 900 degrees, then you get turkey red or Indian red color. If the temperature is 1000 degrees centigrade, then we get purple brown color. Various colors you can get. Turkey red pigment, it is also known as turkey red pigment, and it has specific gravity 4.25 and oil absorption is 20 to 25. So nowadays the synthetic pigments are replacing more and more of the natural products. Why? Because in smaller quantity they give better hiding, they give better gloss, they give light fastness, all the properties, even the hardness or other properties are given better of the synthetic iron oxide ores. Yet there are huge deposits available throughout the world, and some of the deposits, by just micronizing and dehydrating them, you can get a good direct powder. But here, what is the challenge for the scientist in iron oxide? The raw iron oxide powder is available at a very low rate, say 15 to 20 rupees per kg. But now I was going through literature, India Mart देखो आप, India Mart, वेरियस आयरन ऑक्साइड ओर्स उसमें दिए हुए हैं. तो सिंथेटिक आयरन ऑक्साइड कितने का है मालूम है? 100 rupees to 300 rupees प्राइस है. The more you refine the material, the better the price you get. But refining means better, improved technology, a better version of the natural product. Always the real challenge is to convert a natural product into a useful product which is higher in cost. Remember it. What is the job of a technocrat, whom we call a technologist? Suppose there is a raw material which is available at 15 rupees, and if I could convert it to a material worth 150 rupees, then I am a good technocrat, is it not? We should be able to value add the natural raw materials. That is what it is expected. Finally, I would also like to tell you about one more pigment, that is aluminum pigment. In 5 to 10 minutes, I will tell you something about aluminum pigments. Do you know कि अपने ये गेट के ऊपर जो एल्यूमिनियम या व्हाइट सिल्वर पेंट बोलते हैं उसको, वो सिल्वर पेंट कैसा रहता है, किसी ने देखा है कभी? हैव यू सीन सिल्वर पेंट? यस, टेल मी.
No, sir.
नहीं, सिल्वर पेंट की विशेषता काय असते कंपेअर्ड टू अदर पेंट? हाऊ इट इज डिफरेंट? इट इज अवेलेबल इन ए 2 कंटेनर सिस्टम. ऊपर की तरफ एक छोटा ये रहता है, उसमें पेस्ट रहता है और नीचे लिक्विड रहता है. ड्यूअल कंटेनर, व्हाट वी कॉल इट एज ड्यूअल कंटेनर. And this aluminum pigment is particularly, I am interested in aluminum because there are wonderful, excellent properties of aluminum which need to be exploited further. There is a good scope for working on aluminum paints. Why, I will tell you later on. Now, first try to understand that why aluminum pigments are important, because they have high metallic luster. High metallic luster. एकदम चमकता है. एल्यूमिनियम पेंट जो है वो शाइन्स, जैसे सिल्वर शाइन होता है ना, वैसा एल्यूमिनियम भी शाइन होता है. एंड इन सम एप्लीकेशंस वी वांट ए ग्रेटर luster. And it has one very interesting property which is known as leafing of the aluminum pigment. Leafing, leafing of aluminum pigment in organic media. You write down, then I will explain you. The particles orient themselves with their planes parallel to the surface of the film. Parallel to the surface of the film. जब थोड़ी सी पतझड़ होती है तो झाड़ के नीचे ऐसे पत्ते बिखर जाते हैं. देखा है कभी? पर्टिकुलरली इन मई जून जब पतझड़ रहती है तो क्या होता है, पत्ते से बिखर जाते हैं. वो एक लेयर बनाते हैं, एक के ऊपर एक, है ना. फ्रॉम दैट द वर्ड लीफिंग हैज कम. मीन्स लेयर्स आफ्टर लेयर्स एल्यूमिनियम के बनते हैं और वो ऊपर आ जाते हैं. लीफिंग यानी क्या है कि आपने एल्यूमिनियम पेस्ट लिया, वो बाकी के ऑर्गेनिक मीडिया में घोला, हाँ, और उसको आपने पेंट के रूप में लगाया, तो क्या होगा, एल्यूमिनियम जो है वो ऊपर आ जाता है. लीफिंग, व्हाट वी कॉल इट एज लीफिंग. इट कम्स ऑन द टॉप ऑफ द सरफेस एंड द अपीयरेंस इज ब्रिलियंट, व्हाइट एंड एक्सलेंट. A very typical property of aluminum, that it comes to the surface, it floats the surface and arrange themselves in parallel layers to the surface, and because of that it attains a very bright and beautiful appearance. आपने एल्यूमिनियम पेन कहीं लगा हुआ, पता नहीं आपने देखा कि नहीं, पर गेट्स के ऊपर लगा रहता है वो, या विंडोज के ऊपर रहता है कहीं ना कहीं, but it is very bright and it is available in a container in which one is aluminum paste, about 20%, and 80% is organic vehicle. That is how the aluminum paint is sold. 20% paste, 80% organic varnish medium. Now, how to prepare this aluminum paste? Try to understand how to prepare this aluminum paste. Earlier, it was prepared by beating powdered metal into flakes by hammer mill. There was an instrument known as hammer mill, beat the metal in presence of some moistening agent and get that particular flakes. But today, it is done in the modern method, employ ball mills, in which flattening of the metal particles into flakes. First we take powder of the aluminum, so flakes are formed, and it is affected by cascading action of steel balls. देखो बॉल मिल आपने कभी देखी है कि नहीं पता नहीं, उसमें स्टोन्स रहते हैं और बॉल्स रहते हैं, स्टील बॉल्स रहती है, स्टील टाइट बॉल्स रहते हैं, तो उसको घुमाने से क्या होता है कि वो बॉल्स एक में के ऊपर टकराते हैं और उसके बीच में जो मटेरियल होता है वो क्रश होता है. दिस इज वन ऑफ द वेज ऑफ क्रशिंग द मटेरियल. So the mill is charged with powder aluminium. The mill, you can write down, the mill is charged with powder aluminium, stearic acid and mineral turpentine. Stearic acid and mineral turpentine. Quality of the product and output are determined by the size of the steel ball, speed of ball mill, quality of mineral turpentine and other things. Now you may ask that why we take this stearic acid. The purpose is this, that stearic acid coats the surface of the aluminum particles and therefore it gets properly dispersed in the organic media. Stearic acid forms a thin layer on the flakes of aluminium and therefore it floats on the surface, which is known as leafing property. Normally, the paste contains 66 to 68% of aluminium. The paste contains 66 to 68% of metal. There are two types of aluminium paste. One is leafing paste and another is non-leafing type. Leafing paste and non-leafing type. A polished and brilliant grade is there which contains 75% pigment and has got excellent mirror-like finish. And it has a leafing tendency also. Sometimes mineral turpentine is not a good solvent for the overall other resins. So instead of mineral turpentine, naphtha is used as a solvent and then we prepare this aluminium paste. For inks and fine lining, finest particle size is used. You know that in inks also aluminum is used, aluminum paste. But that quality of aluminium is extremely extraordinary. Now this leafing has certain limitations. If your media or organic media which you are using, it must have a acid value of less than 4. Write down. Acid value of the media should be less than 4 and it should not be very viscous. Otherwise the aluminum will not float on the surface. In some commercial preparations, where leafing is not required, just aluminum is sufficient. There is a type of paint known as hammer finish. Hammer finish आपने अलमारी के ऊपर देखा होगा कभी कभी. वो बनाने के लिए एल्यूमिनियम का इस्तेमाल है. और मेनली ये नॉन लीफिंग से पॉलीक्रोमेटिक फिनिशेस करके आता है, यानी 2-3 तरह के शेड, जैसे साइकिल के ऊपर ये 2 या 3 लेयर्स दिखते हैं अलग अलग कलर्स के, उसमें भी ये नॉन लीफिंग एल्यूमिनियम पेस्ट इस्तेमाल होता है. But one very important property for which I am telling you all this is it is used in bituminous paints where it increases the light and heat reflectance of the surface. Light and heat reflectance of the surface. Today in my house, I have used cool home paints. What is the property of cool home paints? That whatever light is there, whatever heat is falling on it, it should reflect it. The maximum it reflects it, the cooling will be maximum. more and more reflectance is required. So I feel that this aluminum paste to some extent must have been used in cool home paints. And you can also take up a project on cool home paints in which you will design some paints in which this aluminum paste plus other mediums you will use, and if you could get a good reflection, and what you have to determine, you have to measure the reflectance of the paint after application. How much light it reflects, that is what you have to measure. But do you know that I purchased from Amazon one cool home paint? What was the cost of it, do you know? It was about 400 rupees per liter. And there is a claim of reduction of temperature after application on the roof to about 5 to 10 degrees centigrade. This is the claim. And nobody has defied this claim. I read the reviews on this paint also. So the reviews say that they are quite good when they can bring down the temperature to around 5 to 10 degrees. Suppose if your highest temperature in May is say 48 degrees centigrade. So by applying this paint, if it comes to 40 or 38 degrees, it will be a natural thing, is it not? So designing such a paint, and that too by using aluminum, titanium and various pigments and a suitable binder, is a good proposition to work on. Because learning is nothing, whatever is given in the text, try to think in a different manner. Always remember that learning is a process in which you can go by offbeat thinking. Means whatever is given in the books, you should learn by heart, you should understand it, but then go a step ahead in a different dimension. Then only you will be recognized, not otherwise. Okay, so this finishes. At present, this is my last lecture on pigments, because as students of oil technology, I wish to concentrate more on binders. Say boiled oil, blown oil, stand oil, alkyd resin, polyurethane resin, epoxy resin, acrylic resin. Binders play a major role. In one paper, we cannot cover pigments more than this. It is difficult because otherwise we will miss more important and more commercial chapters. Pigments, I have taken some selective. I will ask you to read something about zinc chrome pigments. You can prepare yourself. Zinc chrome and Persian blue pigments, that you please read. And organic pigments. These three things you read yourself. Later on, if we get time, we will try to finish it, but this you can read yourself. Write down few questions on these topics. Iron oxide. How iron oxides occurs in nature. Give a brief account of the properties of iron oxide pigments. What is transparent iron oxide pigment? What is transparent iron oxide pigment? The second question is, what is leafing of aluminum pigments? What is leafing of aluminum pigments? How do you prepare aluminum pigments with good luster and leafing properties? I must tell you that earlier one of our students has done a project on aluminum paints, and he has prepared aluminum paints based on special resin, Castro alkyd resin, designed by us. We have developed a new resin, and based on it we have prepared aluminum paint successfully. And in those days, it was accepted commercially also because the cost of aluminum paint prepared by us was slightly lower than the commercial product. We have already done this work. So you can read that paper in Paint India. Paint India magazine has published that work, and we do have a copy of that paper, so you can read it. Okay, so you can ask few questions. Anybody?
Sir, leafing of aluminium
Huh?
in organic media.
Uh-huh. That you want to be explained.
Yes,
Is it
sir.
not?
Yes, sir.
What we are doing in the process of making aluminum paste, we are coating aluminum particles with stearic acid. Aluminum is an inorganic material. While organic media and inorganic media, they have a tendency to go apart. They do not come together.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they have a tendency to go out. So what we are doing, that we are taking aluminum powder, mix it with little stearic acid, mineral turpentine, a paste type of material is formed. We grind it, we crush it, and convert it into flex type of material, a laminar structure. फ्लेक्स रहता है ना,
Yes,
वन
sir.
प्लेट एक के ऊपर दूसरी रखी हुई है, उसको फ्लेक्स बोलते हैं. तो वी alter the structure and flakes are formed in the paste, and this paste has this particular property that when you mix it with organic media like alkyd resin or stand oil or some other media, these aluminum particles, because they are first mixed properly, but they have a tendency, because of their density and property, they have a tendency to come on the surface. And on coming on the surface, they protect the surface from moisture, because leaf type of one layer over the another, so moisture resistance will also be good, brightness will be good. But there are some limitations in leafing. Means you cannot use a media which has acid value more than 4. If more acid value is there, aluminum will react and the whole thing will be spoiled. Similarly, the viscosity of the medium is also important. If it is too thick, it will not leak. If it is too thin, then also it will not leak. Means as for cooking of good rice, you require proper temperature, proper water, and proper heating. So here also, for leafing, you want proper adjustment of the pH of the medium, a very good grade of aluminum. Second thing, and preparation has to be, means coating of stearic acid should also be there proper. That is nothing but leafing of aluminum paste.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Anything
sir.
else? Pratik. Be interactive. आता तुम्ही फायनल इयरला आहे ना, इंटरव्ह्यू मध्ये कसं बोलणार मग? You should have questions in your mind. प्रज्वल आहे ना? प्रज्वल.
Yes, sir.
आहे इथे. प्रणव. Okay, then we finish with our this lecture here, and tomorrow we will interact at the exactly same time. But now we will discuss with, as you are oil technologists, we will concentrate more on boiled oil, stand oil, melanized oil, styrinated oil, means oils modified for paint. That will be a more nearer to our technology. So we will stress more the binders based on oils from tomorrow. Even tomorrow you can ask some questions, and you can also tell me frankly that if some of the components you have not understood, we can repeat them always. Because the chapter of pigments is little difficult for you. I know that. So if you don't understand, don't hesitate to ask. Okay?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Wow.